It's a rainy, rainy, not rainy, rainy. Oh, stop it. All of a sudden, my organization just went right out the window there.
So, oh, it's not raining here.
Yeah, it's drizzling here.
Again. Well, good morning. We can have a good morning anyway, even if it's raining.
True. Just because it's raining doesn't mean it's not good.
That's right. That's
It's sleepy.
exactly right. Right. Good day to get off and get back on the recliner and throw the blanket over your head and go for a snooze.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to be motivated to do anything outside of the house today, I think. Although there is at least one or two little things I have to go do with the kid. And that's if I can get him out of bed all snuggled up, because I'm kind of jealous of that.
Yeah, well, it won't last long. As soon as he's off to college, he'll be up early unless he doesn't take any morning classes.
I'm sure he would prefer not to, but I kind of hope they make him. Just the mean mom in me.
Yeah, right. Well, you never know.
Right. I mean, atmospheric pressure sciences, I'm sure you've got to be outside at all times. So that means morning and morning weather and barometric pressure. Wow, can't talk today. Let's see. So we have quite a few joining us. We have Brooke, and that is a fun picture. Patrick, Helen. Let's see, Amy. Oh, Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca. But Patrick wants to know if we know anyone, any good mediums in the Philadelphia area. And I
do not.
I don't. I know if you keep going towards New York, you'll run into Lilydale, and that I'm sure some people like to vouch for some of them. Or make a trip to North Olmsted and I'll hook you up.
There you go.
I just did a couple of interview reads for a couple of new readers to get ready for the winery and some of the other events coming up to make sure we have enough readers.
Right.
Well, hey, Jamie, first time here. So anybody else that's new, feel free to ask questions about earthbound spirits, negative energy, portals, fair folk. Let's see, what else can you answer? What else do you have locked in that head of yours, Marianne?
You never know till the right question pops up. You just got to dig it out sometimes.
Right. Denise, Robin, Melanie. Hello, Melanie. It can be, Patrick. Sometimes if your friends have seen somebody and can really vouch for them, that's usually a good way to go.
That's the best way. Don't ever do it just from advertising, because anybody can say whatever they want when they're paying for their advertising. So you're better off having a friend that's been to some place that had an accurate reading and a good reading. That's usually the best way to do it. That, or, find a shop like the Goddess Elite. They usually have contacts for readers and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's got to be some kind of a woo-woo store out there somewhere close to you. Woo-woo there.
Oh, hello, and our buddy Lewis. Mercury retrograde is upon us. Mercury Gatorade. It's here.
It is.
Oh, well, thank you, Melanie. That's a good way to spend Wednesdays. I could be biased on mornings. Here's a good question. Walter asks, what prayer can you say at a cemetery to keep earthbound spirits from following you home?
Usually the earthbound spirits that are at a cemetery when you are there are at a service. And so after the prayer service, that spirit is 9 times out of 10 going to go into the light. So you don't really have to worry about that one following you home. And the rest of the cemetery, there are not earthbound spirits in cemeteries. They need human energy to keep going. Everybody in the cemetery is dead. Who are they going to get energy from? So, but if you're somebody that goes to a lot of funerals or in the cemetery a lot for whatever reason, spritz yourself with some sea salt water before you go. Wear a quincy charm. That for sure will not let anybody follow you home. Smudge as soon as you get home. So if anybody followed you, it will leave, so that you have options.
So a little kickback to Mercury. Helen said, "Oh my God, I had to do finance reporting for a corporate organization yesterday, and Mercury retrograde meant so much confusion."
I don't know why these Mercury retrogrades seem to be getting worse and worse, each one. And of course, this one is being aggravated by the 2 past supermoons and the eclipse last week and the next eclipse on the new moon. So yeah, the Mercury retrograde's got a lot of energy right now. I think next week on YouTube, because it's Mercury retro middle, so at the 5:31 next Wednesday, I think what I'm going to do is just do Mercury retrograde questions. I've got a bunch of them. And I know that I'm always slamming Mercury retrograde, but there's some good things about a Mercury retrograde too. So we're going to go over that next week, Wednesday. But yeah, this has been just a pistol. It's thank God it only happens 3 times a year.
Well, Lewis says, "I completely forgot it was happening until my razor snapped in half on the morning of retrograde, and I was like, it has begun."
Well, I have to admit, Mercury retrograde really affects more of communication. So I don't know what your little talk you were having with your razor about, but something must have happened that made it snap. So.
And we've all spoken about changing clothes and accessories on the other side, but what about makeup and hair color?
As far as I know, yes, anything that you could do when you were alive, you can do when you're dead. They don't eat or sleep, however, but that doesn't mean that they're still not in kitchens and they can smell, but that there's no need for that, even though they can smoke cigarettes and, like I said, cigars and pipes and whatever.
I saw a question in the chat. Now I can't find it because so many are coming in, but there's a question about mirrors being portals. And I know we've kind of briefly talked about this a couple weeks ago, but can they be?
Yeah, a mirror can be a portal, especially if it's used in some kind of a ritual. A lot of times when people do magic rituals, Wiccan rituals, whatever kind, they will use a mirror to put all their stuff on top of while they're working up. And sometimes that will blow open a portal. Portals, again, are blown open by live people, not dead people. So if you have, and most back in the day, not so much now, but a lot of the dressers always had mirrors attached to them. So if something negative happened in a bedroom, that could blow open a portal in a mirror. And I don't really necessarily find portals in newer mirrors, but yeah, in some that were attached to old dressers, you can usually find a portal in one of those.
So Jamie says, "I signed up for the Zoom on 6/21. I have a house full of spirits, so it should be interesting."
Good.
Yeah, so the 21st of June, 2021, in case you're watching on a replay, is the next time, as of this recording, that we have openings for Zoom. And I'm sure we'll be talking here soon about putting a couple more on the calendar. Let's see. Oh, do earthbound spirits exist on the Astroplane?
I don't think so. And this is just my opinion, but I do not think so. I think the Astroplane only has, I think that's where it's another dimension sometimes, and your little folk can be on an Astroplane. But I just don't think earthbounds are on an Astroplane for some reason.
Let's see. Let's catch up with some comments. Oh, Melanie says that the retrograde is majorly messing with her photography work this time around. So I'm assuming the cameras, the mechanisms in there, right?
With buttons, I'm telling you, studios, radio studios, people that do blogs out of their home with, with the mics and everything, just affects everything really badly. I mean, it really, really does. It's going to be interesting with the next two Zooms on the 11th and the 21st. Of course, the 11th is full, but let's see, because the Mercury retrograde is not over until, I wrote it down, the 22nd of June. So that means both of the Zooms will be in the Mercury retrograde. So I have to make sure my teeth are where they're supposed to be that day.
Well, hello, Loretta. Here we go. How long does an animal have the light around them after they pass, since most people don't have services for their pets?
It usually lasts about the same amount of time as it does for a human, about 48 to 72 hours. Usually animals that are going to cross over pretty quickly, though. They either see another pet that they had lived with that died before them, a previous owner, believe me, and being that they're not in pain anymore at this point, they will just, sprint right into the light. They're pretty good about it.
Can spirits cry? Inquiring mind of Lewis would like to know.
No, I'm going to say probably. They laugh, they get angry, they get mean, and crying is one of the personalities or the things that we can do when we're alive. So yeah, I've seen where their eyes are watering, but not necessarily crying. So I'm going to think that, of course, I have to say I've never seen one blowing their nose. So I don't know. I don't know.
I won't have allergies on the other. That will be.
I wouldn't. I don't think you will. I really don't.
I look forward to this.
Right. That is Ted.
Hello, Stu. Let's see. So Danielle says, when I was 16, I played with the Ouija board a lot. The spirit I talked to was supposed to be my guardian angel. She died in a car accident at the age of 17. Her name was Erica, and she told me things that ended up coming true. From what you said about Ouija boards, I am scared that maybe this wasn't true. She was never negative. How do I know if I was duped?
Well, Danielle, you've got a couple things going on here. First of all, a person that dies does not become a guardian angel or an angel. You don't switch. When you come back, you're going to be another human. You're not going to be an angel. So, and your guardian angel, truthfully, I just can't see why a guardian angel would be on a Ouija board. I am almost going to guess without a doubt that the person that you were talking to on a Ouija board was an earthbound spirit that was just getting in your head. I truly believe that. And like I said, nobody is ever going to convince me that an angel will get on a Ouija board. I do not believe that one little bit. So, without talking to you from your house, I hope that this spirit still isn't with you after you played with this when you were a teenager, because that could really have a bad effect on your life if this spirit has stuck with you. Hopefully it was even a woman. It could have been a man just totally lying.
Catfished on the Ouija board.
Yeah, exactly right.
So Patrick asks, have you ever encountered someone who has learned to see earthbound spirits, or have you ever trained anyone to be able to see them?
I don't know. I cannot teach somebody how to see a spirit. Everybody can do it when they're a child. and you don't use it, you lose it. A lot of people, when they hit their mid-40s, around 50, they start becoming more aware of it again. People that I've cleared their houses know what their house felt with a spirit in it, and then knows what it felt like without it. So sometimes if they go to a friend's house that does have an earthbound spirit, they'll go, ooh, I know that feeling. They can't see him, they can't talk to him, but they know this feeling. Training, there's nothing I can do for that. I cannot. I was taught how to remove negative energy. I can teach that, but I cannot teach somebody how to see a ghost. I cannot do that.
So for some of our friends like Melanie, who's having problems because in her photography keeps zapping her batteries. Oh, and Lewis has the best. The chat's all jumped. There it is. So if somebody during Mercury retrograde is having problems with batteries, is there something that they can do or put around to kind of protect those batteries?
I know that people that do a lot of paperwork or computer work during a Mercury retrograde. And Ted, what's the name of that stone?
Blue aventurine.
Thank you. If you keep a blue aventurine close to your computer, like on the table, on the desk next to you, that will help. If you are in conferences, meetings, Zooms, have one in your pocket, that will help. It almost, the way it works, it sort of slows your brain down so that you can actually hear the question being asked, where you just don't run off at the mouth and answer because it's probably going to be wrong. And Melissa, you've got stones that work too, correct? What are yours?
So like sodalite and lapis also help. And for some people, citrine, because it is a communication and thought stone as well. So, but everybody's slightly different, in the energy.
Right.
So
exactly. And this is the thing where you almost would hope it would be a ghost instead of Mercury retrograde, because you could get rid of the ghost a whole lot easier. You got to live through Mercury. You can't get rid of it.
Oh, Sandy's on my side about the no allergies. Like we're team no allergies.
Yes, you and a lot of other people.
And then she asked, do pets reincarnate and find their owners again?
Yeah, there was a animal communicator that I knew, and she definitely said that they would come back and that they would reincarnate. I personally have never seen that, but I know a couple of people that show dogs that were 100% convinced that after the one, it was after a 3-year period, and another one, it was after a 5-year period. They had gotten a new puppy in the same breed that they were involved with, and there was nothing that these puppies didn't do that they were sure reincarnated from previous champs. So yes, I'm going to say I do believe that could happen.
Oh, and we have another new person joining us. So hello. And as I see the numbers kind of climbing, if anybody else is new, feel free to ask questions about earthbound spirits, negative energy, portals, fairies, maybe some a little bit on reincarnation. Marianne's going to answer you live. We go through as many as we can in this hour. We are prone to humor and shenanigans. Just a fair warning.
On occasion.
So how do you sign up for Zoom? I'm going to put the link up a little later for everybody to have. You can also find it on our website, goddesselite.com. But how do you sign up for a Zoom? Also, are many people, multiple personalities, get possessed by walk-ins, earthbound spirits?
I don't believe so. It is very, very hard to get a possession. That is not an easy thing to do. And so I'm not saying that they can't be around you, spirits, because of whatever the mental illness is. People are stressed out anyway. And so that you're almost like a magnet for earthbound spirits anyhow. But to be possessed, no, I do not believe. You have to be totally knocked out to get a possession. I mean, anesthesia, uh, drugs, alcohol, totally out cold, a car accident where you're knocked unconscious. I mean, seriously, you have to be totally out to get a possession. So, and the people that I know that have been possessed, you never have more than one, ever. Now, you can have multiple personalities, but that's a mind thing, a mental thing. That is not meaning that there's odd spirits in you. That's something that, is wrong, is what you're working on. So,
well, and earthbound's around people, as you've said before, if they're on medications, they're not going to work properly and could exacerbate the situation that way.
That's right, exactly right, because whatever your mental health doctor is giving you to help you, if you've got somebody right next to you, those pills are not working like they should. And pay attention if your doctor says, gee, are you sure you're taking them? That's the first clue, because you are. And the second clue is, well, you must have got used to them, so we're going to have to increase the dose. Red flag. Or you got used to them, we're going to change the pill. Red flag. In my opinion, those are red flags that are telling me to tell you that you've probably got an earthbound spirit around you that is affecting your meds. And so that's why you're not getting healthy. And that's for a mental or a physical ailment, not just, one. It affects anybody that's on prescription medications.
Good. Very good question here. And leave it to the little ones and Lewis. Lewis, you're not a little one. We're not calling you little. But anyway, my daughter wants to know, if a person learns how to make the light before they pass, can they make the light for themselves after they pass over? So can you make your own light when you go, if it's not there for some silly reason?
I do not know. That's a question I don't have an answer to. I don't know. I don't think you would have to, because the light stays with you for 48 to 72 hours. And if you lose it, all you have to do is go to a funeral home that has a service going on, and the white light that's around that person is not an individual light, it's universal. So you can bebop into the light that way. So you really don't know, you don't really have to know how to make the light to cross over. You can cross over without learning how to do that. But I've run across, I ran across a bishop and a cardinal that were earthbound, and they didn't know how to make the white light.
They didn't go in. Wouldn't
they
be lining into that white light in heaven?
No, they were both worried about, the one was very worried about his parish because it was in a bad state, and he didn't know what was going to happen to it. And the other one that didn't cross over was a teacher at one of the boys' high schools, very popular boys' high schools here in the Cleveland area. And he was afraid that the priest that was coming in to take over his class wasn't going to do a good enough job. So that's why he stayed too. Remember, same personalities that they had when they were alive. We all know a minister, a priest, somebody that thinks that, well, it's not just priests or ministers. There's always somebody that thinks the world can't live without them. And so there's a reason why they're going to stay. Those are the people that you really hope cross over. But no, not so much.
And then Alyssa wants to know, do you believe in aliens?
I definitely believe in aliens. At some point, I had an alien foster child. So believe me, and that's a whole other story that we're not going into today. But yeah, absolutely. I do believe in aliens. I think we've be so foolish to think we're the only planet that has life, or the only galaxy that has life.
So now we're gonna have to dedicate a day just to the aliens.
I know.
I'm sure it's getting ready to flood up, and I won't be able to keep up with these kids.
No, I know, but they definitely exist. There's no doubt about it.
Lewis, you pot stirrer, have you ever gotten into an argument with another medium about something?
No, I don't really hang out with anybody like that, so no chance of that. I know that I've had people, when I've been invited to a funeral, that they're starting to open up again, but when I would just go to the funeral home to meet with the family, sometimes they would have a medium there, or a spiritualist that could also talk, and I'm not quite sure who they were talking to. Wasn't talking to who I was talking to. But just because I can't see them doesn't mean they weren't, because they could have been talking to people that crossed over. So I don't know.
Leech the Raven asks, can spirits give us old things? Because I've seen this before. So I think the question's coming down to, can spirits, like, I think the technical correct term is apport, where they bring something from another dimension or from somewhere else to be able to give it to you. And my first thought is when you were telling us about the one client where the ghost was bringing in shirts from somebody else's house.
Right. They can move things around from place to place. If they can bring things with them from past lives, there was, I forgot all about that. There was a woman that was in her 50s that had me come out, and there was a ghost there, and the ghost knew that her grandmother was visiting her, great-grandmother that hadn't crossed over. And the woman was very curious about that. And the ghost that was in her house said to me, do you want me to go get the great-grandmother? And I thought, sure, why not? And I'm thinking, because even if she doesn't come back, I'll protect the house and she won't be able to get back in. But I said, go ahead. And it took about 10 minutes, but she actually did bring great-grandma back to the house. She knew this lady when the lady was she died when this lady was 3 or 4 years old. The lady really, beside pictures, really didn't have any remembrance of her. And this great-grandmother was really upset about a necklace that this child was supposed to have gotten when she was born. And she didn't know where this necklace was. And she said, I could tell you who has it. And the woman said, yes. So the ghost told me who it was, and I told her. And here it was, her father's new wife had the necklace, which was supposed to be hers. So I don't know how much family trauma happened after that, or drama, whichever way you want to do it. How do you go up to somebody and say, a ghost just said you have my necklace? Not really going to work well. But as far as them bringing actual stuff back, no, I've seen it happen in this dimension in this time period, but not from a past life. So I don't know.
Oh, and they're joining us from Malaysia. So hello.
Wow.
Let's see. So on the reincarnation thing, do you pay for your previous life?
I think what happens is, if you were an abusive man in a past life, that maybe this life you're going to be an abused woman, to make up for what you did in the past life. You got to keep coming back till you get it right. And everybody I can think of 3 people in my lifetime right now that I'm probably, 1 for sure, but 2 maybe, that I'm going to have to come back and get it right in the next life, which is why I'm going to take a really long vacation after this one. I may not come back too soon. So
I'm done. I'm not coming back. I came, I saw, I do not recommend. -5 stars.
You're happy at the level you go in, there's no issue with that. But if you're not, then you're going to do it again. That's karma. I just wish sometimes that I could see karma happening to these people. I want to see it happen now, not in the next life.
I did a podcast episode with Zach, who's actually studying to be a Buddhist, and how he explains karma and how it works and in the Buddhist tradition. And it was pretty interesting. I'm like, oh, there's this big misconception, and it's kind of long, and he obviously explains it so much better than I do. That I'm like, oh, that's what the general public believes, but that's not how it works in actual Buddhist tradition, you know. So it was
involved. It's all involved. It really is. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're not going to come back and be 4 years old and be abused because you were an abuser to an adult when you were in your past life. So no, there's a lot of steps to go to be reincarnated, believe me, and fix your karma.
Right. And so on top of that, do groups of people keep coming back?
Yeah, when I was regressed, I was with Ted most of my past lives. Most of my past lives, I was a man, not a woman. And same people that were really good friends now were relatives or a parent in a past life. You keep coming back with the same circle over and over and over again. But those are the people that you have to make it right with, if there's something that's wrong. So yeah, you keep coming back with the same set of people. For sure.
I can't find it now, but there was a question from Facebook that asked if spirits can mess with things in the house, like causing roofs to leak. I can say
absolutely. Absolutely. Plumbing, roofs, furnaces, air conditioner, now pumps on pools. 2 weeks ago, somebody took and snapped the lining, a ghost, and snapped the lining on their in-ground pool where the lining fell inside. You know how much weight how heavy water is but it's been this 2 super moons and the 2 eclipses. They have had so much energy, but oh yeah, they can break anything. How many times have you painted a wall and you come back 3 days later and it's all blistered and it's all bubbled, and there's no reason for it? You got the best paint you could afford, and this is what happened. Ghosts can do the strangest things. They truly can.
So are all spirits earthbound?
No. Spirits that have crossed over come back and forth all the time for visits. Grandmas, grandpas aren't going to miss baptisms, first communion, soccer games, holidays, birthdays. They're going to be that for all of that, but they do not cause any of the problems. And once a house is cleared and the quince seeds go up over the doors, it does not stop spirits that have crossed over, or your guardian angel, or your spirit guides. It only stops earthbound spirits, which are the ones that cause problems. I cannot see spirits that have crossed over. People like James Van Prague and John Edwards, they can see spirits that crossed over. They don't see what I see. I don't see what they see.
So back to it's blue aventurine, because there's a couple other questions. A blue what? Aventurine or lapis or sodalite. Wendy says there are so many stones and crystals in stores, but is there a go-to stone to keep negative energy off of you?
I'm sure there's a lot of stones, and Melissa's probably got a list as long as her arm of stones that are good for that. I'm just a firm believer of the quince seed. If you've got a quince seed on you, you are never going to have negative energy put on you or a ghost within 3.5, 4 feet of you. That is the only thing I personally recommend. But I'm sure, Melissa, you have all kinds of stones that are good for negative energy.
Yeah. the one that I always refer back to is black tourmaline or numite. And they negative energy, ill wishing, all the things. A lot of people like to go right to hematite and the rings, which yes, I do wear them more because I like the way they look. And mine are so old, they're actually gunmetal and faded. They're not that bright, shiny black anymore. It looks like it with the light that they are, but they're not. And my belief is, why would you want the negative energy to get so close that it's in your ring to then have to break? Why let it get this close anyway? Tourmaline and numite help keep things aback. So,
just out of curiosity, how many, I'm going to put you on the spot here. How many different stones do you have in the shop?
That's assuming I counted. If we were going with just the jars of tumbled, there's probably around 150, 175.
Different stones, and every stone is got some kind of energy to work on something, right?
Yeah, so, and I like to tell people, like, what works for me may not work for you, because Tylenol works for you, but I prefer Motrin.
Right.
So the energies of the stone are going to work slightly different with everybody because we're all chemically different. So
some people wear gold and it turns green. Some people wear sterling silver and it turns green. Same thing works with stones. You can't, one stone isn't good for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people come in, they're like, what stone's good for protection? And I'm like, well, pretty much a general rule is if they're dark colored, they're going to be grounding and protective. And they're like, well, you're not very helpful. You're not telling me. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you that you need to figure out which one works for you.
Are you trying to keep negative energy away from you that's affecting your love life, your money, your health, your boss, your work, not a new job? Each one of those would need a different stone that would work for you. So it's some of it's trial and error. You know, you just get a stone and see how it works. Don't just for a day or two. Try for a good 2 weeks. And if you don't see results, try a different one then. Right. Just remember, and no matter where you get the stone, and Melissa's store is totally a secure store. Nothing is in her store that shouldn't be there. But all of the stones that are in the store, how many other people have touched those stones? You can stand in her store and watch people go up and down all the aisles, putting their hands in the stones and picking them up and looking at them and putting them back in and going to that bin and picking them up. Anytime you buy anything like that, take it home and cleanse it, because you don't know who's touched that stone. There was a metaphysical store in Broadview Heights that's not here anymore. Everybody's actually dead. But she sold a lot of stones there too, and she used to have those little tiny plastic zip little bags that people put jewelry in. And she used to have sea salt right up at the counter. And any stone that anybody bought, she would put in that little bag with some sea salt and zip it up and give it to them. So nobody left her store without it being in sea salt. But do it when you're at home. Just, you don't have sea salt, at least use table salt. But cleanse anything. And that's the other thing too. People need to cleanse their stones on a regular basis. They're sitting out. You have geodes, you have everything all over the house. They collect energy from what goes on. You had a bad day for some reason, you burned supper, you had a fight with your husband, there was negative energy in the house. Those stones picked up on that. So you need to cleanse your stuff too. And, it makes a difference when it starts off nice and fresh and clean.
And the more you work with them, you'll feel the difference in them. So Karen asked real quick, a stone for having energy. Carnelian and garnets are really good for low energy, the vitality. So those are ones that you can carry around. Let's see. And they also work with creativity. So if you're somebody who likes art, creativity, writing, and you need some inspiration, how do spirits get attached to their objects? Do they just follow the object around wherever it's going?
Yeah, they can. And sometimes, and and if you think back, how many times have you been to a garage sale, Salvation Army, a Goodwill, and you're just killing time? You're just walking up and down, and you see this little candy dish, and you pick it up, and you go, "Oh, I just know exactly where this is going to go." And at 50 cents, I mean, what a deal. And you're holding this dish as you're walking around, you're looking at other things. And all of a sudden, this dish that you're holding, you're going, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe I really don't need this dish. Where would I really put it? Now, if I put it on the table there, the cat will probably just knock it off anyway. And do you not want this dish now? You've been holding it. Is there negative energy on it? Is there something you don't like about this dish now, or the energy from it?" So I think people can touch things and know if it's for them or not. And, you know, the easiest way to describe it, a very, very wealthy, wealthy, wealthy man, never had children, never married, but he's got, 10 nieces and nephews. They cannot wait for this man to die because they are going to be so wealthy after he dies, because that's who's getting the amount, the share of all the money. But then, it starts aggravating him. They're just waiting for me to die, and all they want is my stuff. So what does he do? He pretty much curses everything he's got in the house, and he dies. And here the nieces, the nephews show up, and they're going, "And I want that, and I'll take that." And all the stuff they're taking out of uncle's house has all got negative energy on it. That is going to affect where you put it in your house. So anything that you buy used like that, you should cleanse it anyway, just to make sure there's not negative energy on it.
Lewis. Because what if your life just sucks? What's stone then?
At some point, Lewis, you really need to get on a Zoom. So, I can't tell just from talking or looking at your picture, but do you think maybe you have negative energy on you that could be affecting your life? That's a possibility.
We so need a trip to England.
Get on Zoom, it would be way cheaper.
I like the excuse to go to England. But speaking of spirits moving things around, he asked, how do they carry things around? Is it like the item just teleports to and from different locations, or is it literally just a bunch of clothes flying down the street?
You know what? It just gets from here to there. And they are pure energy. I wonder if it's when they pick something up and they put their arms around it, if it makes it invisible to everybody else too. I don't know. There are days I have more questions than answers. I don't know how they do it. How does somebody get 20 pounds of paperwork up into an attic where there's no access to the attic? And when the ceiling comes down, all this stuff falls down. How did they do that? So I don't know how they do it. How can they go from New York to San Francisco in a heartbeat? I don't know how they do that either. Did they do it?
I need to learn that trick. You know how much gas I would save if I didn't have to drive to work every day? Jeez.
Yeah, anything not to be on a plane for 5 hours. Yes.
So all of these questions about ghost children, changelings, ghosts, or more of the aliens, I think, we're going to have to dedicate a day. Because we are already at like 10:45, and we could go on, I'm sure, another hour just on the topic, or the very tippy top of that topic. Let's see. and more karma stuff. So I have to go back and take notes on that whole karmic thing. Because I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't really care about it, so I'd let it in one ear and out the other. So if you clear an earthbound spirit, can they come visit, or will they stay away once you get them out? So if you're clearing them, if they're going into the light, they can come back.
In all honesty, once they've been to the light, they could come back. But when they finally get into the light, there are so many of their friends and relatives that they haven't been able to stay around because it would make them sick if they were earthbound and around them. That I don't know of any earthbound spirit that wasn't a relative or a friend that would come back to a house that they did. I've never seen that happen ever. So.
Oh, so there was the question before about animals. And in your opinion, do you think animals reincarnate? This Westie acts suspiciously like a Dachshund that we once had. The Dachshund or Dachshund? I've heard it both ways.
Dachshund.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or option C.
A doxy. Let's let it go with that. I think they come back. I think they're the same as humans. I think they come back like if the little Westie there was to reincarnate and come back, she would come back as a Westie again. And as far as her acting like a previous dog, you know what? Maybe that dog is visiting and teasing her and teaching her tricks. That's what happened when we got the new Bichon puppy, which I should have never done. Major, who is the Bichon that didn't cross over, was teaching him all kinds of nasty stuff. So he wasn't reincarnated. He was just learning from. And I'll bet you that's exactly what's happening with the Westie, especially if your Doxy was an old girl when she died.
Mm. So there's been a few questions about cleansing items from thrift stores. What's the best way? Is it sage? Is it salt? Is it getting a priest, a shaman, a rabbi, dancing in the front yard?
This book, When Ghosts Speak, it tells you how to get the negative energy off of a person, a place, or a thing. So it would be absolutely, don't buy it. Go to the library and just read the last chapter. And anybody can do this. And seriously, Lewis, there would be nothing wrong with you getting one of your buds to do that ceremony on you in the back of that book, especially if you think your life sucks that bad. It's there you go.
Just waiting for the shoot.
Okay. Well, then just have that negative energy taken off if that's what it is. Listen, if you don't have negative energy on you and you do the ceremony, you're not going to get negative energy. Mm-hmm. And if it's done wrong, it's not going to give you negative energy. It's a total win-win situation. So just do it.
Let's see. You could use that same thing to cleanse like quilts, because there's a question about a quilt.
Absolutely. Anything at all can be cleansed with what's in the last chapter of that book. Anything.
Oh, and somebody asked if you're going to be doing like bracelets and keychains with the Quincy charms and the zipper pulls.
We have bracelets, we have earrings, we used to have keychains. They didn't last very long. We don't have those. How do you choose the charm that goes with the zipper pull? They reach a hand in a box, and the one that comes out is the one you get. There's no rhyme or reason because there's so many different charms. You could put a request into the store when you order a zipper charm, say it's for a girl or a boy, or, and the store will try to find something more appropriate for the gender. But no, can't do it because there's so many different charms. There's no way to pick.
So now, can someone choose when they pass to give the people they left behind a sign?
Some people will say every time they see a cardinal, they know it's somebody particular that died, or a hawk, or a butterfly. Somebody will turn on their car radio and there's a song. that reminds them of somebody. Sometimes somebody that crossed over will give signs like that. But the best way to know for sure is to see them in a dream so that you can talk to them. And anybody that's earthbound has never been in a dream. So if you dream of a relative or a friend that has, died, they look healthy, they look happy, they're where they're supposed to be, and you definitely can talk to them.
So can spirits shapeshift? The inquiring mind of Tony would like to know.
No, I don't believe they can. I think you can't do it when you're, you can't do it when you're alive, and I don't think you can do it as a ghost either. I don't know what you can do once you go into the light, but not if you're stuck. And how can you tell if you have a portal in your house? Portals in a house are blown open by live people when something very negative happened or happens. And the easiest way to tell if you've got activity at a portal is when an earthbound spirit uses a portal, they can't stay any longer than a day and a half or 2 days. So say in a month, you get 2 days that are really lousy, and then 3 or 4 days where nothing's going on and everything seems fine. And then all of a sudden it happens again. That would tell me that you've got a portal and something is coming in and out on occasion. That's why you don't have something happening 24/7.
So sometimes you feel like you got a relief and then it starts all over again.
Right. And just about the time you think I got to do something about this, it stops. And then you think, well, I'm just having a bad day. Or, you make excuses. Nobody wants to say, I have a ghost in my house. It's so much easier to say there's a squirrel in the attic, there's a branch hitting the house that's making the noise, the wind is making the doors shake back and forth, kids are making the doorbell ring, they're running away after they push it. You can make excuses for anything. But when it gets where there's no excuses left, then I guess you got to go with the ghost.
And so I think finally what we'll wrap up with before we go into all of our closing info. Any good stories from Fashion Week?
There's some great stories when I was at Fashion Week in New York the one year. And there was, and I didn't know actually that Chicago actually has a pretty big Fashion Week there too. And I wasn't there specifically for that, but I was there at the hotel, working at that hotel, clearing out different rooms there. So yeah, no, between designers and seamstresses and the staff, makeup people, hairdressers, they're also cat-like. It's a very competitive type of work, and they're really mean to each other. And when they're dead, they're still mean to each other.
Okay. All right. I fibbed, only because this is a little one involved. My daughter had a dream that a loved one who had passed came to our house and helped my daughter cross over an earthbound spirit. Have you heard of this happening before?
I have, but I don't know how old your daughter is. I would have to guess that it would be not unusual if she was like 7 or 8 or under. If she was older than that, that would be a little bit unusual, but I'm not saying it couldn't happen. Absolutely.
And have there been a lot more earthbound spirits since the pandemic?
They've had a lot more energy because of the pandemic, because everybody's stressed out and aggravated, and it's finally starting to lessen up now. And there are a lot of people that died from the COVID that are angry about it, that have not crossed over, because some of them still haven't had a memorial service. And Melissa disappeared.
Here we are.
Mercury retrograde.
I'm blaming the cat that just walked by and hit the wire.
Okay. I'll give it to the cat this time.
Yes. This chunker's right here.
Oh, okay.
Go away, Sith. So if everybody's still with us, and I think they are when I look at the numbers up there. Now you've met Sith, my fat chunkers. Since it's almost 11 and there have been questions about how and where to join us for the Zoom sessions, here you go. That address will work regardless of the date because I just add the dates to that link. So even if you watch us later and we're still doing them, I don't know if we're going to be doing these in 3 years. Who knows? But this will get you in. Now we limit the Zoom to 30 people. So 32 people will be there. The 30 that pay to be there. Marianne, I'm kind of there. I'm just unmuting people. Marianne's doing all the work. This is where you can find out if you have earthbounds in your house, if you have negative energy, a portal, all of those questions, because she'll actually be able to see you. Sometimes I see the questions where people are asking about what's going on, and you can see us right now on YouTube. We can't see you, so she can't answer those. Join us on Zoom to get that answered. It's $20. It will not be put out for the public to know. So you can go back and always watch these Wednesdays, but you can't go back and watch somebody else's Zoom session. So there is that. Oh, thank you, Melanie. He is rather cute and lovable. Our next in-person haunted event is going to be the merry-go-round in Sandusky, which is on the 26th. So we still have some room for that. So, come on out, which I did see that Renee, who's coming up from Virginia? Or no, wait, she's out west, right? Renee, with her dad that kind of pops in and sees her.
No, Minnesota.
No, okay, even farther away. She's coming in.
Oh, she's coming in? Oh, nice. Nice. What about the guy from New York?
He's coming too. Yep, he just emailed day before yesterday to confirm. So it's going to be fun. We get to go through the whole main floor and downstairs. And this is where they store and maintain the haunted horse from the Cedar Point merry-go-round. So there's supposed to be all of this fun stuff about how this horse is haunted or even cursed, and we'll have to get Marianne to confirm or deny that. And then we get the main floor and we get to go downstairs where they do all the restoration work. So creepy basements. Who doesn't love creepy basements?
Now, curious, because remember, one of the reasons that the gentleman's coming in from New York is that he's had a, golly, I don't remember, World War I or II ghost attached to him. And he's hoping that when he comes here, that he brings the ghost with him so that I can get rid of it.
That would be fun. I mean, well, and I say that as me thinking of if I was the ghost, car riding around, which you wouldn't have to car ride, but ghost.
No.
Ghost of the world.
Right. Don't know.
But we have a few other places that are in talks, so hopefully soon we'll be announcing some other places. A few here in Ohio and one or two maybe even towards the Erie, PA side. So just keep up with us on that. And we'll announce them not only on here, but they'll be on both of our websites. But yeah, Marianne, you got anything to share?
No. It's interesting on the YouTube at 5:30 today. One person has done this since I started doing that, but for some reason got 3 letters this week. Each one had almost 20 questions. And it's oh, this is smart. Everybody just writing their questions down so that they don't always go in order, So there'll be a lot of questions I'll be answering today on that. Plus, we're going to touch on curses a little bit. Got quite a bit of people talking about curses. And like I said, next Wednesday, I think I'm going to try to do both sides of the Mercury retrograde on YouTube, the good side and the bad side. So
there we go. Melanie wants us to come to Georgia. I think we're going to have to put together a trip somehow. I'm going to need a travel agent because of all the things I do, booking travel is the one thing that stresses me out because I'm more paranoid about lining up the dates and everything that it just freaks me out.
I refuse to do anything with layovers because I don't run well in airports trying to get a plane when you get off one onto another. So that was one thing I didn't miss during the pandemic was traveling because that can be stressful too.
That's why I do one ways. I don't have to worry about layover. Oh, and we would have a field day in Savannah. And I think Savannah, isn't that considered the most haunted or like in the top 5 most haunted cities in the US? So,
right.
We already have people saying that they could help book our tour. Oh, and Patrick said we should call it the M&M tour. So is it possible to post a recorded Zoom here, like just one with the consent of the participants? Not really, that because Zoom doesn't work this way. This is streaming, though. And depending on the time zone, and I might have to talk to Marianne about this, and this might be, send me an email, goddesselitellc@gmail.com, and tell me exactly what, and if there's something that I can work around, we'll try. Because here's a fun fact, Marianne, and I'm not sure if you and Ted knew this. We can actually stream to your page and make it private to where only people with the link can see it. But with Zoom, though, to have to do the Zoom and then hit record, download, then upload is time consuming and file heavy. But there could be a possibility around with YouTube, depending.
I don't know. That would almost, see, I've gotten so many requests. The people that don't want to come on Zoom with 29 other people, can't we just do Zoom between the 2 of us? This is what people have been asking me. No, because I can't touch a computer. So we need Melissa to do this. And so it would never be just you and me. It would be Melissa too. And now that I'm starting to do houses again, I just don't think I have time. And Melissa, you're so busy now too. I don't think we'd have time for that.
It would almost have to be like on Mondays only, because that's my one guaranteed day off. We do Wednesdays because, most times I can get a Wednesday off, but there's been times where I'm like, all right, got to go, Marianne, 11 o'clock, I got to start driving.
Yeah, right.
But, doing this, but we would have to definitely, because I think she's in a different country. So, and it's the time change to where if she had enough friends that were all in there on a time, we could maybe.
Oh, if she wanted to get a group together no. I thought she was talking about individual. I think it would be too hard to do it one-on-one with just an individual. But if she had like a Zoom ghost party, had 10 or 15 people that they wanted to be there. Yeah, we could probably figure out some time to do that.
Yeah, we can.
If I'm up from 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the morning doing live radio with George Norrie on Coast to Coast, we can do an hour from England or Australia or wherever.
C. Lewis, no excuse, dude.
That's right. That's right. We'll stay up in the middle of the night. We'll do it during your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really agreeing to this, right? Ay.
We all saw it.
Yeah, you all heard me. I'm here now. So, okay.
Yes, because of course he wants us to come to England, and then there's more people that come to Georgia. So, and I think a couple of weeks ago when we started joking about, a ghost tour, there was like requests for Virginia. So
there's not my yellow legal pads on my desk. There is not a state and country almost that's not on one of those yellow legal pads now. I got a call 3 weeks ago from New Zealand.
Oh, I always wanted to go to New Zealand. We're going to add that to the list.
Okay.
Like the few times when I was younger that I watched Xena, like I was more watching the countryside and, because I'm like, it's such a pretty country. I want to go there. Maybe someday. Is there only one for the Zoom, or is there an audience? So how the Zoom works, and it bumped up again. There are the 30 paid participants, Marianne and myself, in the Zooms. So, and the difference really is Marianne can see you. She can answer those questions. I'm not really talking. I usually turn my camera and mic off and only pop in when it's time to call in the next person, because I've got the list of names and making sure everybody gets their turn to ask their question. So it really is kind of you and Marianne. The other 29 people are able to hear, but I have yet, and Marianne, I don't think you have either, where somebody has, oh my God, unless they're friends, and they're usually doing in chat where everybody can see it anyway, or family members. Because like there was a group of sisters last time, and they were kind of joking amongst one another. But it is you, 29 other people, Marianne, and I'm kind of there. But it's not recorded and put up on YouTube for other people to watch. So
nobody's ever called me and said, oh my gosh, that lady that was in that one square was talking about. Nobody's ever done that. So I think people respect your privacy. I haven't seen that being a problem ever since we started doing this.
They're doing the same thing you are. So you could turn around and call them right out too.
That's right. So I don't think there's a problem with that. I really don't.
Yeah. So June 26th is the next time that we have, there's like 10 spaces left, and they're starting to pop.
June 26th is the merry-go-round.
June 21st.
The 21st is the Zoom.
Right. Because the 11th is full. I've had some kind of questions and emails of, that there's something wrong. They can't book the 11th. There's nothing wrong. It's full. So the 21st is the next Zoom. And we'll have some more dates, I'm sure, coming up here soon. Yeah. But and after the merry-go-round, hopefully we'll have some other live events coming up. I'm waiting for some confirmations and doing not only the confirmation that yes, we can do it and the dates will match, but we always confirm that there's actually something there.
No fun doing something if there's no ghost.
Right. Which I think when I told my friend about the possible roller skating rink, they're like, can we roller skate while we look for ghosts? And I'm like, I'm sure only on the wooden floor. But there's a possible roller skating rink in the area that we would be looking at. And Patrick said all of the fun events always happen in Ohio. So he's in voting of like some PA stuff. So I'll have to do some PA research and phone calling around.
That way. Yeah, we've actually got feelers out that way. We just haven't really found anything yet. So
yeah, and the one that we were really good on, then COVID hit. So now I've got to restart all those conversations and hope that those people still even work there.
So maybe these places didn't reopen. So who knows what we're going to find.
Yeah. So
it's totally different now.
Yeah, well, let's see. It's already almost quarter after, so
good for the week. So let's do it again next Wednesday, which I think
Philadelphia, he says. I'll have to look at Philadelphia.
I think next Wednesday is the Wednesday before the new moon. Next week, Wednesday, I believe. I don't know. I have to look at a calendar. So, okay. But yeah, we'll do it next Wednesday and just try to have some summer things going on, even though it's a cruddy day today.
Well, at least those of us that are here in the rain, you don't have to mow your lawn today. Mine needs mowed, but it's been so wet that you can't. So there's that problem. Oh, so Lewis, we need to come to England and check out the Highgate Cemetery! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation.
Well, we would have to use you for a guide then, Lewis, because we really don't know our way around England. So
That means I need to go find where that passport went. I still never found that.
you never found your passport. Well, by now it's probably outdated. You probably need a new one anyway, no?
Well, it's only been like a year. I got it and literally within 3 months gone. So it's been like a year. Well, maybe 2 now. I the whole 2020 year like doesn't exist for me. So maybe 2. So but yeah, I was thinking, I'm like, I might as well just go get another one done anyway. And as soon as I pay the money and get that one, I will find the other one within a week.
It always is.
Because the universe is a sarcastic person, just like that.
Right. That's exactly right.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody.
Okie doke. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There it is.